New tonight, Target 8 investigates. Imagine this, you're in full-on cardiac arrest, or your baby is choking. Every second counts.
911, what's your emergency?
I believe my husband's having a heart attack.
But will the nearest rescuer get the call?
Target 8 investigator Ken Kolker discovered not always. All because an imaginary dotted line gets in the way, and that can be deadly.
He was a big teddy bear, but gruff.
Yeah.
People would assume he was gruff.
Yeah.
But deep down, he had a heart of gold.
But in the TV room of their Plainfield Township home, some 200 feet from the Rockford City line, Tom Osdike's heart failed.
He said his heart was pounding, and I felt his wrist, and he was clammy.
Okay, just a moment.
Hurry.
Yep, stay on the line with me.
Then she waited and waited for somebody to save the man she married 13 years ago.
Tom looks so happy in this picture.
A retired machine worker, a father of 5, just 72, and a doting husband.
In 13 years, I haven't filled my own gas tank.
Rockford Fire Lieutenant Robert Bergstresser was on duty that night, January 2nd, just after 6:30. He is fully trained, fully equipped to save lives.
Yeah, this is LifePak.
A defibrillator helps restart the heart, but the American Heart Association says this has to happen within 4 to 6 minutes.
Every minute counts when it comes to a class 1 or cardiac arrest. Every minute counts. If we can get there at least before 3 to 4 minutes, the chances of survival are much greater.
You could have gotten there in 3 minutes.
Yeah, oh yeah. Probably sooner.
But he never got the chance, never got the call, even though he was at the fire station exactly 1.1 miles away.
The fire station is 1.1 miles from your house. We drove it, the Rockford Fire Station.
Instead, the call went to Plainfield Township, 6.3 miles away.
Plainfield Medical Monitors, Med 1 at 4.
Rockford's rescuer would have gone this way, from Bridge to River to Division to Oaks, and then to the victim's home. But from the Plainfield Township Fire Department, more than 6 miles away, there is no direct route.
Oh my God, where are you? Where are you? And then I'd do some more compressions, and I'd pick up the phone again and say, you have to get here, you have to get here.
Then, several minutes before rescuers arrived, she felt the life leave her husband.
I'm just screaming, my God, he's dying, he's dying.
Plainfield firefighters took 9.5 minutes to get there. That's well above their average response time of nearly 6.5 minutes. And it's well above Rockford's average, 3.3 minutes.
They did their best. Once they got here, they did everything they could, which was nothing.
So what is it that kept dispatchers from sending that Rockford firefighter from a mile away? An imaginary dotted line on a map. The end of their driveway is literally 75 yards from that fence, which is also the Rockford city limit. If they had lived on the other side of that fence, life-saving help would have been here much sooner.
So if you'd been on the other side of that fence,
my husband might be alive.
Plainfield's fire chief says his lieutenant on duty that night considered asking Rockford for help.
He said, I thought about that, but it's not true mutual aid. That's not something our mutual aid contract says, that someone will respond when you don't have resources available. Well, we had resources available. The problem becomes if you don't follow the protocols and you make a mistake, you're leaving yourself open for litigation.
Kent County EMS, which oversees emergency medical response in the county, says it appears everybody, dispatchers and firefighters, did everything by the book. Meaning they say the book needs rewriting.
Should jurisdictional lines even matter when it's a matter of life or death?
Absolutely, jurisdictional lines should not matter.
It makes me angry that because of a boundary line that people have to suffer and die.
Ken Kolker, Target 8.
Kent EMS officials tell Target 8 that this is not an isolated incident. Rescuers are sent to 250 cardiac arrests a year in Kent County alone. Most won't cross city limits without an invitation. They say that Tom Osteich's death could lead to change. We'll have more on those potential changes tomorrow on your 24-hour News 8 at 6. Plus, Target 8 asked emergency medical directors throughout West Michigan whether people living in their communities can expect the closest rescue crew to respond in an emergency. You can see what we found out now at woodtv.com.
A woman's husband was dying, but the nearest help was not sent. A 3-minute response turned into 10 minutes, and Tom Osteich died.
Now, a Target 8 investigation into that death has helped lead to major changes in how Kent County Ambulance responds to the most dire medical calls, cardiac arrests.
Target 8 investigator Ken Kolker is breaking the story tonight. Ken?
Yeah, Marley and Sue, the woman whose 911 call helped lead to these life-saving changes says this gives her husband's death some meaning.
I think it's wonderful. It's just an example of how you can change things, too.
Rockford Dispatch,
Until recently, Kent County's 3 private ambulance companies
Does he have any chest pain with the back pain?
automatically sent their own units
Well, I have an ambulance on the way.
to cardiac arrest calls in their territories.
One priority 1, one priority 2 to DeVos.
They did not check to see if another ambulance company's unit happened to be closer.
10-449.
But now, since the Target 8 investigation, they are calling each other first
246.
to see if one of the other companies has an ambulance that is closer.
It's going to do a lot of good for a lot more people.
It was a Target 8 investigation into the January 2nd death of Tom Osteich that helped get their attention.
Okay, just a moment. Hurry. Yep, stay on the line with me.
Linda Osteich was a mile from the Rockford fire station, but because she lives just 200 feet across the city limit, dispatchers sent Plainfield firefighters, the medical first responders, from more than 6 miles away. A 3-minute response time turned into 10 minutes, and her husband Tom died. It was Rockford ambulance dispatcher Bryce Swanson who took her call.
I could tell that she was getting frustrated with, I don't know if myself or just the whole system.
I think you can assure that it's made a difference.
Kent County's EMS director says the agreement among ambulance companies is the first step.
It'll reduce response times to cardiac arrests. And cardiac arrests are the one type of call where time really makes a huge difference.
Already in the months since this started, it has happened at least 30 times, including twice with Rockford ambulances in Ada and in Kentwood.
It's faster response times. We'll get a crew there, 3, 4, 5 minutes faster.
This is just the first step, though. Kent County's EMS director is working on a policy for medical first responders, those firefighters who usually get there before the ambulance. The policy to send the nearest firefighters to cardiac arrests, even if they have to cross jurisdictional lines. Linda Osteich says she would testify before leaders if that would help.
At this point, I would do just about anything to help convince them that this is the right move.
Now, Kent County's EMS director says he has written a first draft of that first responder policy and is working with local leaders. He says he's confident they will eventually agree to it. I'm Target 8 investigator Ken Kolker.
Target 8 is prompting life-saving changes after we exposed a deadly problem: invisible city boundaries getting in the way of the closest medical help. Target 8's Ken Kolker laying out the changes and how they came about.
911, what's your...
It gives me some comfort that because of what happened to him, something has changed and someone else will live.
It was Linda Osteich's husband, Thomas, whose life was on the line.
I believe my husband's having a heart attack.
As Target 8 reported earlier this year, help was on the way, but not from where she expected.
Hurry. Yep, stay on the line with me.
Their home is in Plainfield Township, but only 75 yards from the Rockford city limit. But instead of sending Rockford from a station 1 mile away, dispatchers followed protocol and sent Plainfield firefighters from more than 6 miles away.
The difference between 1.5 minutes and 9.5 minutes or whatever it was is massive when it comes to someone's heartbeat.
72-year-old Thomas Osdike, a retired machine worker and father of 5, died in his living room.
Now we had a real case and a face to put on the issue, and I think that helped contribute to the political will of dealing with this problem sooner than later.
The death in Target 8's report already led to one change this past spring. Ambulance companies sending the nearest ambulance to cardiac arrests, even if it means crossing into each other's territories.
Mill Pond Drive Northeast.
But now, another even more critical change, because this one focuses on the rescuers who usually get there first, firefighters, often minutes ahead of ambulances.
This is one of those cases where absolutely we have a life that is on the line. Seconds and minutes literally mean the difference between life and death in these cases, more so than any other case that an EMS system responds to.
Kent County has about 250 cardiac arrests every year.
Your chances of survival drop off at about 10% for every passing minute.
The new policy allows responding firefighters to ask dispatchers if a neighboring fire truck is closer.
So in this case, maybe Plainfield would have said, can you check with Rockford to see if they can get there quicker?
Correct.
Or if neighboring firefighters believe they are closer,
they have permission to come on the radio frequency and let that be known.
Plainfield's fire chief, whose firefighters answered that call near Rockford, originally questioned any changes. Said it was about money and politics. But now he says he agrees with the move.
I think it'll make a difference. I like anything, it's not going to be perfect. I don't know that you can make it perfect.
But Linda Osdike knows it will help.
That's fantastic. It of course doesn't bring Tom back, but it's comforting in a way to know that someone else isn't going to go through what I went through.
Ken Kolker, Target 8.
The Kent County Fire Chiefs Association and leaders of Kent County's 2 dispatch centers have signed off on the plan. The Kent EMS director hopes medical first responders can start crossing jurisdictional lines next month.